my and Tonga. Lila in the purple, but beautiful rainbows you have in the background. You have a crystal in the window, I can see.
It's kind of a rainbow tape that my neighbor he does installations using this tape.
It's amazing. It
Yeah.
looks so pretty. Hello, Irene, Iva. So good to see everyone. I think while we wait for the next ones that we just center ourselves. So if you make yourself comfortable and close your eyes and take a deep breath and exhale and feel how your body gets really heavy. Make another inhalation and exhale. And feel how for every exhalation you fall into gravity and become very, very present in your body. And make contact with your feet. And your ankles and your knees. And your hips. And even though you cannot really feel your feet and your ankles and your knees and your hips without moving them, and just create that mind image of you having a body with extremities. And keep breathing slowly and deeply as if you are asleep. So let the breath coming into a rhythm similar to when you're sleeping. It's that relaxed breathing where it's just taking care of itself. And I would like for you to do a kegel at the bottom of the pelvic, at the root chakra, and make an inhalation. Feel how it's going up through the spine. And exhale and release the kegel. So now we have contact with all the chakras all the way up. And focus on everything on the front of your body and on the back of your body, to the right side of your body and to the left side of your body, and below your body and above your body. And have that sensation of you sitting in the middle of all the 6 directions. And now I would like for you to bring a focus to your senses. So everything you see, in your mind's eye, everything you hear, it's my voice, and might be voices in the background where you are, might be voices, sounds of the house you're in, of the neighbors. Bring focus to everything you can smell, everything you can taste, and everything you can feel. So it can be the feet resting on the floor, your bum resting in the seat, your hands relaxing on your thighs. Now I would like for you to bring focus to your thoughts. The next part is a little bit complicated because if you go through your senses again, everything you can see, smell, hear, taste, and touch, how much of that is your actual sensations? And how much of that is an overlay of thought? So if a sound is heard, how many milliseconds is the sound just a sound? And can you notice when the thought comes in and give it a label? It's the furnace. It's the neighbors. It's a dog. It's the floorboards creaking. How long can you be in the space where it's just a sound until the mind takes over and creates a label of the sound? And when that happens, then see if you can notice the thought in the same way as you notice your senses. Because very, very quickly, the mind is creating a story about the label. So you hear a sound, the thoughts come in and say, it's a dog. And then a little story is created. It's the neighbor's dog. Oh no, the dog is out again. The neighbors never have the dog inside. Now it's cold. How about that poor dog? And without you even noticing, you're off on a little tangent, on a little story, a little fairy tale, a little movie that you just created in your mind. And that story has nothing to do with the original sensation of a story. The story is not connected to the original sensation of a sound. So notice when that is happening with your senses. See if you can bring focus to all the images you have in your mental's eye right now. First, you have the flickering of colors. That is the seeing, that's the sense of seeing. And in a millisecond after, you have the thought coming in, starting to interpretate what you're seeing. Oh, that was yesterday at work. I remember when Janice said so and so. And then you start to create a little story about the sensory experience. What I would like for you to do is to see if you can keep it separate. So you have the senses and you have the thoughts that are attaching a label and then creating a story. And as we go into the holidays now, and we're spending time with family, this is exactly what is happening. Something is happening. And then you create a story about it. And that story is not connected to anything. There's a difference in what you are experiencing and what you think you're experiencing. So see if you can bring attention to the difference in what you are experiencing and what you think you're experiencing. So during the holidays now, whatever you perceive as a truth, see if you can separate it. How do you know what you think is a truth actually is a truth? Is there one truth? So when the family is stressed during the holidays and the turkey or the duck is dry, and mom and mother-in-laws are stressing, and there might be people you need to pick up at the airport, forgot to buy presents, all that stress that comes with the holidays. How much is actually stressful? And how much is just a reflection of your expectations, of what you think should happen? Do you see that what you think should happen have nothing to do with what is actually happening? And the last thing I would like for you to bring attention to, do you see that everything you think should be happening is only a reflection of you? It's part of your bubble of reality. It's part of your ideas, judgments, and assumptions and expectations. How many of those are actually real? And how many of those are just mind created? Can anyone ever say anything that makes you angry or annoyed or resentful? Is that even possible? So if that happens now during the holidays, maybe once or twice, see if you can bring your awareness back to your sensory experience in this moment. What you actually experience. What are you seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching? And how much is thinking? Okay, make a deep breath. Feel your shoulders, your neck, your face, and your eye sockets. Make a deep breath. Open your eyes and shake your body. Hi, Jara. Good to see you. And Mike and Eric. In the curriculum, we have moved into the fifth fetter. That's very much about all the things that we don't want. It's about ill will and anger and aversion and irritation and annoyance and resentment and envy and all of that we don't want. And I know that some of you are have noticed that we have moved into the fourth feather and moved into the fifth feather, and you haven't really watched the material because you're aware that there's still so much to be done in the foundational 3, which is completely fine. When Todd and I, when we made the wheel of identification, I don't know if you've seen that video where we talk about that we would like to remove that linear way of using the feathers where you cannot move forward until you have seen the light in the feather you're in. We would like to work with it differently. So it's you slowly gaining insight and knowledge about all the different types of identification, all the different antidotes of the 10 types of identification, and then seeing how you can use it to your benefit, how you can support yourself in the moment. So it's not something that is wrong with you or needs to be different. You need to be in a different way, in a different place. It's just you supporting you where you are. So whatever is relevant for you in this moment, what information can I use now to support myself? I know everything is about me. I know everything is about my judgments, about my assumptions, about all the different things. All that is a reflection of me, what I want, and what I don't want, how I see myself and how I project you to be. So it's about looking at all the different types of diversions we have and just using the knowledge of the feathers to support yourself in the best way possible with love and compassion to where you're at right now. If it really is like we keep saying, that this moment, nothing needs to happen and nothing needs to change or be improved, everything is exactly as it is, then how can you support yourself in seeing that in this moment? So that's what we want to do with the wheel. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Glenda. Hello, my friend.
So I've just started here, and as I mentioned last time, I'm a passive-aggressive bully, and there's lots of work to do here in the fourth and fifth fetters, for sure. I'm on the first fetter, and I'm wondering if that's really true. And instead, I'm really in the second fetter of doubt. So I see through a lot of these games, a lot of the mind things. Like even when you were just doing this meditation right now, can you be here just as you are, in the sensations without the thinking? And there was a big no. Like, do not take my thinking away from me. And it's almost like, do not take my resentment away from me. Do not.
Yeah.
Like it is like violent. So, but it's being seen, right?
Yeah.
It's seen.
Yeah.
So I think my question, and what's interesting is I'm having body reactions. I'm breaking out in a rash, a very rich, itchy rash, and my knees hurting. And those seem to be distractions. Like I've got to fix this before I can do anything else. And I don't know what it is, so I have to go to every doctor under the sun. So it's all being seen.
Yeah.
And so as far as the first fetter is concerned, I mean, I'm thinking I need to be absolutely perfect and unidentified with anything else, with anything, before I can move on.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, I'm going, well, I see through a lot of these games. Maybe I'm just in doubt. Can I work on doubt? Can you give me some feedback?
Oh my God. Yeah, there's so many things in what you're saying, and I love it so much. First of all, I would like to say welcome, and also thank you for your honesty and your openness right now. It's I really, really enjoy that. Thank you very much for that. There's so many things in what you're saying. The most important thing is that you felt in your body, you had that feeling of, do not take my resentment away. Do not take any of that away. And it's really important to acknowledge that, instead of then going up to your head and saying, but I want to become awake, but I should, and all of that. If you did that, you would be in the first fetter. We would be straight back to identification, that you think that you have agency. When you have that, do not take the resentment away. It's because it's important for you to have the resentment a bit longer. There's something about, in the second fetter, exactly, very, very well seen. There's something about the identification with the resentment. There's an old story, an underlying belief that you are diverting from with perfection. When you say that I need to, what was you said? I need to be perfect before I move on. What we have in one aspect, we have in all aspects. So when you say I need to be perfect, you can copy paste that into every single aspect of your life, your work life, your married life, your being a mom, being a friend, all of it. You need to be perfect. The food needs to be perfect. The experience needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be perfect before. I cannot move on until this is, I'm starting doing the dishes. I need to pee. I cannot pee until I have done the dishes. You know, it's that delusion that you have of perfection, which is just, that alone is a lot of work on its own, just to stay with that and see it and going like, okay, Glenda, can you be in a body where things are not perfect? The dishes still needs to be done. I need to pee. There's a physical need that needs to be taken care of. So right now, you take little Glenda by your hand, and then you go and pee, and then you can go back and do the dishes afterwards. It's a bit the same. So every time you catch yourself in that need for perfection, really indulge yourself with compassion and love for the one that thinks that something exterior needs to be perfect until something interior can take place. That's a childhood trauma. That part is kind of indicating you where the issue is. It is lying in the second fetter, as you say. It is about something. It's about a diversion for something that's very, very primal, if we can say it like that. So
it feels like it is.
Yeah. It's also what I hear. Yeah, definitely. The other thing I would like to say that when we have that need for perfection, and also in that thought that you had, do not take my resentment away, there's a forcefulness in it. And that's the other thing I would like for you to, until next time we meet, I would like for you to look into. Again, you will find the clues in the second fetter material. So everything about the second fetter, all the lessons in the second fetter, you will find the clues to what I'm pointing at now. And it's about that forcefulness that is happening. It's twofold. The one thing is about the perfection. There's a forcefulness there, that you are not allowed to be sad or tired or angry or resentful or envious or any of those. You're not allowed to any of that. It needs to be in a different way. That's the one thing. The other thing is that if your resentment vanished right this moment, there are lots of insights underneath that you would not have had. When things are pointing to childhood trauma, like you say in the passive aggressive bully, that's about not having, you haven't experienced that your boundaries have been respected, which means that you have had a full life of crossing your boundaries, crossing other people's boundaries, and friendship have ended because you have crossed the boundaries they have felt, and you have felt that what they then responded with was crossing your boundaries, and it's been like a back and forth about boundaries your entire life. So something that's very, very important at the point you're at now is to really notice every single boundary you pick up on, and notice, where do I in my body right now feel that the boundary is? And that can be when you drink a glass of water. When have you had enough water? Is it when the glass is empty? Or is it before the glass is empty? Or are you a bit more thirsty? Because when we have issues about boundaries, we tend to not feel the body, but drinking a full glass of water or emptying the plate when we eat. If you always empty the plate when you eat, you have a boundary issue, because you cannot possibly know that you are as hungry as a plate. That's impossible. You will know when you eat when you're full, and then you stop eating. And sometimes it's before the plate is empty, and sometimes you need another, spoonful of food, and then you will be full before the plate is empty. So it's that really, really looking into your boundaries, because you will be pushing yourself. It's about feeling when you're tired and going to bed when you're tired. It's about seeking solitude when you are just peopled out and you just need to be left alone. It's about peeing when you need to pee. It's about all those things where you feel a physical experience of a boundary. That's what I would like for you to work with until next time. So, because that is like the key thing about the passive aggressive bully. It's about the boundaries. And I do think that what you said, but do not take my resentment away. It's important. There's something underneath that need your attention and your love and compassion before you can let go of the resentment. Resentment is also tied into the boundary thing and also tied into the passive aggressive bully. So it fits perfectly. You might not experience exactly what it is that is letting go. It might just be that in the process where you notice your body experience of, oh, I'm still thirsty. I just had water. Let me just feel how it feels. I'm still thirsty. When you do those exercises, like, oh, I need to pee, in the middle of when you're doing other stuff, it might be that just you doing that and noticing your boundaries, that you are meeting yourself with that presence and compassion and love and kindness. So the underlying traumas just dissolve themselves, because all they need, it's not all the old stories that we have about mom said that and dad did that and they didn't and all of that. That's just stories. It's not real at all. But the experience that we had in that moment and the labels and the stories we created out of that became real for us. And we have created a full life as if that was real. So in the moment when we have an experience where somebody's saying something and we feel so shameful, and we remember, oh my God, this is like when I was 5. What is important is to realize it's not about the story when you were 5. It's the resemblance of when you were 5 and now. So it's not important to look at the story when you were 5. It's important to feel into that resemblance that story is bringing up. It's the only reason why we have the memory of stories. It's not that they're true, they're just bringing to mind something that we can see, okay, right now, what is important right now that reminds me of then, that wasn't met with love and compassion then, that I now can meet with love and compassion. And that's how we heal in reverse. So it's not that the story about the childhood trauma is real or important. It's what it brings up in us right now and how we can heal ourselves right now with what we feel in our body, in our body right now. That's the only thing that's important. So for you, I would say really, really look into the boundaries. Notice about that. It's about being proper dressed when you go outside and it's cold. Having shoes on that, are bought for your feet, not for your looks. It's about You know what I mean? It's like everything. Whenever you have a sensory experience of being cold or warm, you take clothes on, take clothes off. When you need to pee, you go to the bathroom. When you're tired, you sleep. If you have a tummy ache, you lie and rest. If you're peopled out, you withdraw yourself. It's really about whatever physical need you have, that you meet that. And it's a tall ask. And I don't expect you to have everything sorted when we meet next time, but it's just for you to look into what is happening when you do it, because you will have lots and lots and lots of thoughts and projections. But if I do that, then they will not like me. I can't just leave my family. I can't just go to bed at 8 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I can't just do any of that. I need to, all those projections that you make, write them down, because
Yeah, everything you're saying is right on. And I don't even need other people. Like, I live alone here in my condo. And if I make my bed, or if I'm unloading the dishwasher or loading it, it's like this criticism. You have to do it properly. You can't. And there's always criticism, and there's nobody here to see anything.
No.
So it's all about boundaries.
Yes.
With myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really in many ways it's a gift to have a family around us, because we get provoked all the time. But it's equally a gift to live alone, because we really, really realize that all the arguments we have, you know, with Janice at the job, or with Janice as a neighbor, or any of that, that could take place on a desert island. You know, you could be utterly alone. And a lot of times when we live alone, we experience that. We have full-blown arguments in our mind with a person we have just created, as if that person is real. You know? So a lot of times it's also a gift to realize, oh my goodness, who is criticizing who about the dishwasher?
Thank
Well
you.
done. Well done. Well done.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then this Ravina. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Hello, my friend.
Hi, I was just prompted to add to what Glenda was saying because of being in this carer position, and I think it's been the most amazing lesson on the boundary issue, and because everything is seen, but even so, there is an acknowledgement, and there is an acknowledgement, and at least there's a sense of caring here, of noticing when there are needs that really need to be taken, need to be given to me, that I need to fulfill my needs. But a lot of things, the habits, like you're saying, because I definitely was an early splitter, you know, when I was, you know, still not even born or just close afterwards. I was definitely, so looking after the body needs and the eating on the run, they're having to just do everything so quickly, little things for me. That's still a sort of like, it's not the way I would want it, and but it's just the way that it sort of has to be. I like to have a little ritual to at least enjoy a cup of coffee in peace and quiet, but that doesn't necessarily, I don't hold to it, you know. If it's cold, it's cold.
Is it okay if I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Because when you say it's sort of how it has to be, have you looked into that one? Because that's an assumption.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Most of the time, things just happen, and there's a flow. And then sometimes when there's a lot of when I really get tired, if I have bad night, then efforting arises, and then there's more self-talk going on.
Yes, yes.
So it comes and goes depending, I think, on my state of
Yeah. I love the way that you see completely through it. I love that. It's really, really good. What I would like for you to, in that moment when you realize that you're starting to have those thoughts about, this is just how it has to be. I haven't got time for a cup of coffee. I haven't got time for myself at all. Just instead of hearing that as complaining, hearing that as, exhaustion, because you are a carer, you are exhausted. In that moment when you have, this is just how it has to be, you can have that,
yeah.
Sweet, 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 Ravina. I'm so sorry that this is, how it is right now. I'm having so much compassion for you. Now, have a sip of that coffee and really, just savor the moment. In this moment, there's nothing but the mouthful of a cup of coffee, and it's wonderful and it's forever. This moment is forever. So just have that savory where you expand, a millisecond into a lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just hear that when you complain, it's more about exhaustion, that you are exhausted. The situation you and your husband is in is not what you planned for when you got married. It's not what you have planned for at any point in your lives, and it is just how it is. And being exhausted is part of it. And when you are exhausted, have full of compassion to you being exhausted, and see if you, like I said, can dissolve time in that moment where you reach out for the coffee, decide this is a moment where I'm now dissolving time, this is forever, and I'm reaching out forever, and I'm lifting my cup forever, and I'm taking a sip of the coffee forever, and I'm savoring the taste and the smell forever, and let that expand into, because it's just a meat suit that believes in time. In reality, time doesn't exist. So in the moment, you can expand, what Leela always talk about. Instead of having it horizontal, you have it vertical. So it's like everything is happening at the same time, and you can have a lifetime in a taste, in a sip of a cup of coffee, with full of compassion and full of enjoyment and everything. In that moment, you can recharge the battery into full by learning how to do that in the moment.
That's so beautiful, Pernilla. Thank you. Really, that is just, it says it all. And that's something that I've been learning to do. And somehow, that sunk in very deep. Beautiful.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thanks. I'm so happy. Yeah. So don't hear yourself complaining about the circumstances. See it more as an invitation to stop time, seeing forever in this moment, and then just let it expand, so you are recharged completely to go back to caring for your husband.
Great. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Jay, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you.
Hi, Pernilla.
Hi, Mike.
Just got a quick question regarding I've got a lot of like real bodily tiredness lately. And kind of like new pains, and it's almost as if I was kind of covering them up or avoiding them. And now that I'm kind of sitting in stillness more, it's like, oh
yeah,
here's this ignored for like 2 decades.
Yeah. Congratulations. It's one of the benefits of being present in the moment. You feel like an old man all of a sudden. There you go. Congratulations. That's great.
But it's kind of humbling in a way. But in another way, there is a kind of a tinge of melancholy about it.
Okay.
And it's, as I ask the question now, I feel it as a kind of a real, it's like like a real, like a wavy emotion.
Yeah.
And it's funny because before the call, I was lying down. I tried to kind of meditate a little bit, and there was no bliss, there was no anything. It was just very sedate,
Mm.
you know. And I now that I verbalize it, I know it's just a craving for bliss.
Yes.
But it was this terrible realization that, yeah, you've had a hard day, and now that's all there is. There's just a tired body and a mind that isn't being distracted by TV or whatever, you know. So
Yes.
so I'm not sure if I have an actual question, and just I need to say it. So
I love it. And what I want to say is two things. Let's see if I can remember both. The first thing I want to talk about is about diversions, because you're really touching on something super important. The more awake we become, the more we realize how much we're diverting all the time. That there's something present in the moment that we don't want. We have an expectation about something else. When I meditate, I feel bliss. Well, not always. Not always. If you had a full day and you're exhausted and things happen at work that mentally exhausted you as well, and you might have been intellectually challenged and, you know, driving in snow or whatever, which was, you know, physically straining, and then you come and meditate and the body just goes, oh, and it's not bliss. It's exhaustion. It's like you just want, you know, the body just want to sleep. The mind just goes like, you know, completely done. Then there's no bliss, you know, anywhere, because it's not the first in line. The first in line is the mental and physical exhaustion that you have. That needs to be taken care of. And then we can have that mind overlay saying, no, I'm further on in the path. When I sit down and meditate, there is just bliss. I'm going into the upper jhanas immediately. You know, that's just bullshit. It's just, you know, diversions from what actually is here right now. And right now, there's something that I do not have time for this body to, you know, catch up. I'm ready for the bliss to happen. Well, tough shit. It's not happening, and you're exhausted. You're exhausted. You know. So it's a very important insight, because it gives you an indication of where your expectations lie. Partly your expectations of your everyday life, your expectations of what you do in the evening, your expectations about a meditation, your expectations of your illusion of awakening, what that means. Like we can have those ideas that our awakening is only going up and away. You know, it's sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes awakening takes us back into what you say. I just feel tired, and I feel, you know, the body hurts, and, you know, I'm being aware of so many things that I haven't been aware of before. That's part of the awakening. It is truly awakening up to what is present in this moment. And in this moment, there's a very tired Mike, you know, and then just allowing that to be. We have this idea that when we allow what is, it's only supposed to be good stuff. You know, it's not. There's an overlay of what is good stuff and what is bad stuff. And who are you to know? I mean, who are you to know that this is not the most brilliant experience you can have? There's just that mental overlay telling you that it's supposed to be different than what it actually is. And that's just mental mind stuff. The other thing that you talked about, it's about that pain and melancholy that you feel. How does it feel in your body when you talk about having pain and you talk about melancholy coming up? Are those two connected?
oh yeah, there's a definite feeling that it shouldn't be there. That you should be strong enough.
Yeah.
As I say it, of course, it's ridiculous. I mean, but yeah, there's a kind of a, like I twinged something today, and there was like a spark of like, oh, you shouldn't be injured. why 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 shouldn't a body be injured? But
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny, as you were saying it, the script was so clear after you said it. It was like, yeah, you have to sit for an hour. It has to happen in this time, and you must all thoughts must stop, and it must be like this. And it's like, no, you're there. You have to kind of cook and sleep, you know. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
You're so welcome. Yeah, every time you catch Mr. God in all his in all his opinions about how it should be right now. But I know the body should not be hurt. The body should not be in pain. The body should not be, I should not feel melancholy right now. I am much, much more awake than somebody who feels melancholy. It's just like, oh, Mr. God, could you back away? You know? And just see what is here right now. Who are you to know that pain and melancholy is not, you know, your direct path to freedom? Who are you to know? Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I wish you lots of melancholy and pain.
Thank you so much.
So good to see you.
So I went to Angelo's 7-day silent retreat.
Amazing. Amazing.
And it was silent even when we took our meals. It was silent throughout the 7 days. And when I arrived home, it was as if I was experiencing the wonder of being alive, the wonder of the simplest of things. I found a fly out on the screened-in porch on a pillow, and I put my finger toward it, and it flew. It flew to the screen, and I put my finger near the fly, and it moved away. And then a third time, I put my finger near the fly, and we touched, and we just stayed like that for the longest time. And I thought, oh, my finger has become familiar to the fly. And it was just the most wondrous connection with the fly.
I know.
Felt like a little child again. I felt like I had captured the wonder before all the self-structure began, the wonder that preceded all of that. And so I'm so grateful for that. It has slowed everything down. But also during the retreat, what continually was arising was a narrative about my life as a series of traumas. Like one trauma after another, and I didn't quite know what to do with it. It just kept showing up as a narrative, and I would go into the feelings. I was spending a lot of the time being very present with what was arising. But this narrative was a little bit of a nagging thing. And then on day 6 of the 7-day retreat, during the Q&A, I went up on stage, and I was really surprised by what came out of my mouth. It was really surprising, and I would like your perspective, perhaps insight on what this was about. And so I went up on stage, and this is again the last time we're having Q&A. And I told Angelo that that my survival mechanism was to fly under the radar and to be invisible. and that I didn't want to leave the retreat without being seen, which was so bizarre because the retreat is not so much about being seen. It surprised me that I was saying this. And then he said, well, tell us who you are. And I shared about my experience at age 24 of the S training. And I said, I walked into the S training identified as a victim. And I walked out of the second weekend of the training with that identity being gone. It had vanished. I didn't know what I was, but I knew I wasn't a victim. And then I proceeded to tell a story of what happened immediately following that loss of identification, an experience of being raped. And then, a few weeks after that, an experience of Christ consciousness, where I forgave the man who raped me, and there was no scar left at all. And Angelo said, he was just silent for a few minutes. He closed his eyes and then he said, I think you just told us who you are. And I didn't quite know why I shared what I shared, but I do know that when he looked at me, there was some recognition that some part of me had been seeking for a very long time, that apparently I wasn't able to give myself, but it felt like I got it from Angelo, and I'm still a little unclear as to what that was. And I was wondering if you could perhaps facilitate my having some insight about that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where Angelo is so much and Todd, where they are so much better than I am. Because my artistic brain, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, and I feel the pain that is attached to the story. What happens in me, though, is that I see very, very clearly in my mind, just like I see everything when I see a sheet of paper, when the letter 8 is there, it's yellow. It's my brain that is working like that. Mm-hmm. When I hear a story, it's like I can see what is fairy tale and what is real. Mm-hmm. And what I see is that you're lost in the story, you're lost in the fairy tale, you're still in the woods. And where Angelo and Todd, they are amazing, it's at meeting you in the woods, taking you by the hand and slowly taking you to the outskirt of the forest, but not taking you out of the forest, because you need to take that step yourself. And they are really, really good at that. Both of them are really, really good at that. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just putting a needle to your bubble, and then you're standing completely without the story. And I'm afraid that what I'm about to say is, it's not what you want to hear. So if you don't want to hear this, then, go back to listen to what Angelo talked to you about,
No, I want to hear.
Okay. Your story about the rape is a story. The trauma that you created in that was pointing at something else that you need to become aware of. You think it's about the suffering in the rape, and you think it's about the forgiving the rapist. That is part of the story. The real is in the space between you and the fly. You know what I'm pointing at? That when you create a word saying Christ consciousness, you are making everything, you're minimizing reality into something that you can understand. I completely acknowledge you for needing to understand it. because there's something that still needs to be healed, and it might need to be healed cerebrally and intellectually. I do believe, though, that what I have heard from you, from the inquiries we have had, I do believe that you can be in a space where you do not intellectually understand, but you can attain your freedom in it.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Could you say more?
Yes. Thank you for being brave enough to going into this.
I'm so grateful for this interaction. You have no idea. My uh, I know what's possible. I want freedom.
Yes. The first thing I want to say is you have it. You have freedom. You are free. When we create stories about our past, about rape, about abuse, about horrendous childhoods, about neglect, when we create stories about that, it's because it's pointing to something in us that needs to be healed. We tend, however, in therapy to focus on the story and to forgive the rapist is part of that story. There's nothing to forgive. There's no one to forgive. That is part of the story, but it's in psychology, it's an important step to be able to step out of the story and see what is actually happening. The story about the rapist, the story about saying, I always fly under the radar, I prefer to being invisible, all that is stories. When I say fear, anger, guilt, and shame does not exist, I'm not saying that the part of you that feels shameful about the rape and that needs to be seen with loving eyes by a man that is holding you and looking you in the eyes and saying, I see you and I acknowledge you, and I love you for who you are. And he's not trying to rape you and he's not trying to abuse you in any way. I completely see the importance of that. Absolutely. Absolutely. The next step in is to realize that acknowledgement that you had from Angelo, you have it in you as well. You just need to open up for it because you are already free. You are free. He is just reminded the feeling that you had at the retreat where Angelo said that and you felt seen and you experienced a man that did not rape you, that held space for you. He's a representation for every single man on the planet that has done any woman wrong. He's a manifestation of the rapist that is seeing you and saying, I see you and I'm sorry. That can happen in you. But in the beginning, we need to see it externally. We need the external validation before we can feel the internal validation. But the catch-22 about it is that you can't receive the external validation until you have the internal validation. So when you realize that all of it is story that is pointing to reality, it is pointing to that, what you call Christ consciousness, that's just a story. In reality, there's a rein and there's a fly and there's a space between it that is completely magnetic. That is you. That pausing of time and pausing of all the stories and pausing of everything, where everything just dissolves, is what is happening in that contact where you felt the fly, the connection with the fly. In that moment, like I talked about with Ravina, you have eternity in that moment. And in there's not a story about a rapist. That's not a story about Irene that needs to be seen and be acknowledged. That no Irene that can fly under any radar. There is no radar. It's just this moment where there's a beautiful, beautiful contact with life. Did I confuse you more?
No. I guess my question is, first of all, I don't want to tell that story. I don't want to tell that story anymore.
Why? Why is that?
I don't want to tell that story anymore.
Why?
Because it just seems like an old story.
It needs to be told as many times until you forget it, until it's not a story anymore. At some point we tell a story as long as it is pointing to something that needs our compassion and kindness and love. We tell a story as long as that is needed. When we're no longer getting it from that story, the story dissolves itself and is not something that you want to tell or do not want to tell. It doesn't hold any importance anymore. There's so many stories. And when you were 17, you had a story that you were sticking with. And at some point you forgot it because it was not important anymore. As long as you have a story that you want to tell or you do not want to tell, that's the same.
Yeah.
It's when it holds no importance anymore and you forget about it.
So when there's this narrative during the retreat about trauma after trauma after trauma,
Yes.
what is being asked of me?
What is the trauma pointing at? How does it feel in your body when you think? Because all of the traumas feel the same. It might be different things, but all of them are pointing in the same direction. What are they pointing at?
What are they pointing at?
Feel it. Go. You're trying to think. You can't think yourself out of this. Feel into your body. How does your body feel right now? Could you sit straight on a second? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now you have balance in your body. Then breathe into your stomach and exhale. Feel how you're falling into gravity. How does your body feel right now?
Sad. There's sadness arising.
Sadness is a label. How does your body feel?
It's okay. It's okay. It's
It
okay.
feels like there's a tension in my stomach.
Can you breathe into it? Can you expand the stomach?
Actually, I don't know that there's a tension in the stomach. It feels more like numbness.
Okay, okay. Put your hands on your stomach. Can you feel your hands on the inside?
Can I feel my hands on the inside?
Yeah.
Say, on the inside of my stomach?
Yeah. Can your stomach feel the hands? So it's not your hands feeling the stomach.
Oh, can my stomach?
Feeling the hands. Can your stomach feel the hands?
Oh, that's a little different.
Okay. Yeah, good. Good, good. Yeah.
Yes, my stomach can feel my hands.
Oh, now, good. That was the numbness. That was the
Yeah.
numbness.
Yeah.
The numbness was just a diversion from that sobbing.
Yeah.
As soon as you allow yourself to sob, the stomach does not need to have the diversion of numbness anymore. So now you can feel your hands. Beautiful, beautiful.
And we had a sound meditation, 3 sound meditations, I think, maybe there were more. And 2 of them on either end were just phenomenal. I mean, I was just. And then the one in the middle, I was trying to escape the room as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Because the sounds that Violet was making with this instrument was like, oh my God. I was like, how do I escape this? It was awful. And then I started feeling like on a sexual level, like Oh, just all of this stuff that I didn't want to feel.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't leave the room was because I heard somebody come in and how distracting it was to the group, and I didn't want to cause distraction.
Oh, you're such a good girl.
That was just my excuse for staying in the room. But then I was also proud that I was able to recognize that that was going to be a distraction, not only for the group, but for me to leave.
Yes.
And so, so I stayed.
I
And
love,
was
I love that.
May I just pause a second? I love how you see through another distraction.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about you not wanting to disturb the other ones, being a good girl. I'm about being no. It's never ever about anyone else. It's only about
I
Right.
get it. I get that
Beautiful.
it's not about anybody else. Sometimes I forget, but I always come back to remembering.
Always.
it's about
You
your
have to throw that in.
everything about your bubble.
It's never about anybody else, and it's never about fixing things externally.
Because you
Never.
can.
Nothing outside of you exists.
No. And so that has been the most powerful thing I've gotten from
Yeah.
working here with the Fetters. That alone is
Yeah.
worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, it is. It
It
really
is.
coming away out of that bubble is it's gold. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing my awareness to my stomach, feeling my hand, such a nuance, but yes, it dissolved the numbness.
Yes.
And then there was grief.
And even the grief is a diversion from something else.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
That's another layer.
Another layer. How is that possible? I thought I was touching what was wanting to be felt.
It's a bloody onion. There's more.
Oh my gosh. So where do I go with that then?
What you just did. You just close your eyes, you breathe, you fall into gravity, you become heavy, you put your hands on your stomach, you feel your hands from the stomach. So it's the stomach that is feeling the hands. So you are in the center right now. And then you breathe in and you exhale. And like we did in the meditation in the beginning, you go in and then you just notice your sensations. So it's the seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching without any labels. What the mind will do now is that it's going to divert. And what it's diverting with is pointing at what needs your attention.
Well, what the mind is saying, I don't know what's here. I don't know what's here.
Yeah, it's trying to grasp.
Yeah.
That means that you're probably done for now. It's probably been enough for now. It's probably been enough now. But and this goes for everybody here. This is if you really want to come into the bottom, into like the bottom of what actually is, this is the way to do it. The mind will divert with something. It can be a shopping list, it can be she said, he said, it can be, I don't feel anything. It can be, oh, I also need, to start the dishwasher. It can be anything. It can be, oh, I had such a good insight. Now I forgot what it was. Forgetting things, it's also a diversion. So anything that the mind is coming up with is pointing at what needs your attention. And until there is just utter stillness and everything is just dissolving and there's nothing, there's a space between you and the fly.
Okay.
Until you're there, there's still stuff to look at. Still stuff that needs compassion and love and to be.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was just very fruitful. Thank you so much.
Good. I'm happy. I'm so happy. And I also want to say thank you for being brave enough and, sitting through my autistic rant of, thank you for that.
Total gift. Thank you, Pernille.
Jay, so good to see you. Hello, my friend. It's been a while. I'm so happy to see you. Were you muted?
Hey, can
Hello.
you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Hi.
So good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, a lot's happened since the last time I saw you. I started a new cancer drug.
Yeah.
And I went into liver failure. I had every side effect you could possibly have. And it, I saw my lab work, I felt my body, I was leaving, I think, like over Thanksgiving. And in fact, I didn't even get on the Christmas exchange list because everybody else thought I was going to. And I went to hell. I went
My
to
God.
hell.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of come out, and then it like these like deep dives, and it was like I thought I was like, well, it's like hallucinations, just all kinds of, like I don't even remember parts of it, and like all these realizations, and then I'd see all these events from my life, but then I'd see them from a different perspective, and
Yeah.
I wasn't really moving, and then I got up, and they, I'd stopped the drug, but I kept spiraling downward, health wise, even afterwards, because it's what happens, sometimes. But it was like I could feel like in my lower chakra area, like this light, and it was flickering. It was like the image that I would get. And I got up, and I just, like, the rest of me was like spaghetti, but it was like that, what was holding me up. And I remember I even like walked out in the kitchen, and I heard my son and my friends like kind of whispering, and my friend was like, I don't know, she just got up, and it's been a slow process coming back, but my liver is, all those markers are coming down, and the tumor markers are still going up, but all kinds of things have happened, and there's been all kinds of shifts, and I felt so much pain, and then like I would see things, and there was even like one point where I remember like I went like down through like all these levels, and it was so hard, and it was like this like dark crystal cavern, and there was this tiny little child, and that was me, but then I was like whooshed out of it, and it's just kind of crazy. But now that everything's kind of settled, it's like yesterday I was in my body all day, and it was just magical, and the pain was there, but it was distant, but then I'm doing that thing where haven't felt good in so long. I haven't had it, like this thing that I'm feeling. I felt it before, and I've always known it, but I never paid attention to it because everything I've experienced, like I'm just used to things being so extreme, that I didn't pay any attention to this place. And it's like, oh yeah, and I know this, and I've spent so much time out in nature in the woods, and what really kind of locked it in for me was realizing that I know how certain animals feel, and that like shifted something in my brain. Like I know what a mountain lion feels like without ever seeing one, and I don't know how to put into words everything that's like happening. And like I said, I'm like flipping in and out and so all over the place. And like I was watching an inquiry yesterday where somebody was going into all this resentment about their sister, and I thought, well, I'm going to jump on this, and I couldn't find it. But then I got all like I did this, and I was all proud of myself. And then a couple hours later, something came up, and if my sister would have been here, I'd have stabbed her in the pen with an eye. And it was like, oh yeah, And so I just feel I don't even know how to describe how I feel, just all over the place, and
Yeah.
just like and trying to like I have no clue like kind of how to operate.
I understand.
Like
Completely
I still have all this stuff going on
Yeah.
in Cancerland, in the medical world, which is my biggest trigger, and so
Yeah.
going in and out of that, but there's all these
But
things
the-
that seem to be kind of happening to support me too, if I can just kind of stand back a little bit. And
Yeah, when we have a chronic disease, and I see cancer as one of them,
Yeah.
we are so fixated there that we completely forget how much is reality and how much is thought about reality. I don't know if you have you heard Todd? He has made a really good inquiry. I think he's called like death inquiry or inquiry about your death or something like that. I don't know. Have you seen
you
that?
know, I think I've seen it, but I haven't really been online much. You know, I've been so
Oh, I
out
get
of it. Yeah.
If you should have something on loop at the moment, that would be the one. It's partly about looking, it's partly looking into your death, into looking into dying. But more importantly, what it's really good at, it's dissolving all 10 fetters right away, because seeing through self and seeing through the identification that we do with all 10 fetters is part of death. You know, it's the death of the ego. There's nothing when you're seeing through all 10 fetters, there's nothing left to identify with, which means the ego is not there anymore. It's just completely dissolved. And that is the same as looking into the meat suit dying. And wonderful Leela has just put it up in the chat. Everyone, I can recommend you to click on the link in the chat and watch it at some point. It's gold. It's absolutely gold.
Okay.
What I would like for you to and it's bloody difficult at the point where you're at right now, because when we have as much pain in the body that we can have when the liver is influenced, or when you are on chemo. I mean, chemo is known for completely screwing up of our perception of reality. My sister's just started, she has a stage 4 breast cancer, and she just started up on a new chemo, and she was at some point she was out with the kids, and she was just sitting and considering, is this responsible being out with the kids right now? Because her perception of reality, she's going in and out of what is reality and what is real, is like, it's really messing with the brain. So it's good, and if you can twist it into that you are actually, you have a great tool right now in seeing through all the layers of thought and all the delusions of thought, because chemically right now you're having more help than the rest of us.
Yeah.
When you had what you called hallucinations, that is just the brain no longer attached to this reality as we call reality, and the brain, you know, seeing things that are not there. But when I see a house across the road right now, that is my brain saying that there's a house across the road, but that is just, it's just a hallucination on par with if I saw, you know, an elderly couple walking, or I saw a cat lying next to me. It's the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I like some of this stuff, like it felt like I kept getting like this vision of like the dwarves from the Lord of the Rings, and they were all in my body, and they were just throwing all their stuff around, just fixing things, but not gently.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. What you said, it's so great when I can't read my notes. Okay, I can't read my notes. You said 3 things that I wrote down. I can only read my notes on one of them. It's about where you said that I know how a mountain lion feels. When you are in that, at that point, because right now, all of us, we can sit and we can breathe deeply, we can fall into gravity, and we're just straight in the body. At that point, when we completely dissolve the physical me sitting here, you can connect with anything. You can connect with a mountain lion. You can connect with a tree. I had a brain injury at some point where for years. I was just sitting in my family summer house, and I was breathing in the forest and exhaling, and I was a tree. I was completely the squirrels and the pheasants and the deers and the tree and the clouds and everything. I was all of that. It was completely dissolving the physical being, and just being everything that I perceived around me, because it's part of my perception, as well as we perceive our traumas as real, and we perceive, you know, all those layers of perception that the mind is creating. So when you are in that part where it feels like you being in hell, I know exactly what you mean, because when you are in chemo and when the strain that it takes on your liver, it's and the way that the liver reacts, it's the liver is all about toxins. It's about, you know, excreting toxins from the body, and it's fatty soluble toxins. It's not water soluble, so it's the fatty soluble toxins that it's excreting. And when that is like really, really stressed and pressed, we can experience a bit like the same type of delirium that we have with, you know, that alcoholics they experience, where they have delirium and they see, you know, monsters and they see all of that. We can experience the same thing when we're on chemo. That is not less real than you sitting right now and thinking you're speaking to me. If you really, really look at it right now, you're sitting and looking at a computer, right? But your mind has this idea. You create me into something real that is sitting at the other end of it. What is actually happening is you sitting in front of a screen and looking at it. The rest is something your mind is creating to make sense of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not real. None of us are. The only thing that's real for you is you sitting right now with your hand and looking onto a screen. And if you really, really, if you close your eyes right now, even that dissolves.
So I'm still trying to grasp it all intellectually. And that's what I found was that like all this non-duality stuff. And I've had, like I said, big experiences, like what you just described. That's happened to me on the farm where I was the pig, I was, you know, the pigeons, I was everything. And but it went away. And so that's what I thought being awake was.
It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. You're just not focusing on it. It doesn't go away.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I saw with all this. And it was like what I experienced was everything that you've talked about, but it wasn't what I thought it was in my head.
Yes.
And so there's that. And that's kind of where I'm at now, like going back and forth between the two.
But what you're talking about now is what Mike was talking about. It's not how he expected. Hang on. This is not awakening. I'm not supposed to feel like this when I'm awakened. I'm sitting and meditating. Her meditation feels like completely different than this. Well, does it? Clearly not. Clearly not. This is how meditation feels right now. This is how awakening feels like right now. And that is why I recommended you Todd's inquiry about death, because it's dissolving all 10. And I really, really think it would be so, so useful for you right now. So have it like in your AirPods, like nonstop, over and over and over and over. Brainwash yourself with that inquiry over and over and over and over, because it will click, and you will have that, oh my God, something was what the mind thought that it was supposed to be, while the real thing was happening all along.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that, but then it fades off because I'm grabbing, you know, and then, you know, for the first time ever, I'm catching my thoughts because they spin and there's so many. But if I can just gently kind of say it's not helpful, you know, and go back and remember to come back in here, and then all these things open up. But
I'm a huge proponent of brainwash. I'm a huge proponent. I think it's amazing. And if you take that inquiry, Todd's inquiry, because it's doing all 10 feathers. And it's allowing you to be in a position where there's no attachment even to the meat suit. Even to the meat suit. Stop having cancer. Even to the meat suit doing any of that. Everything as it is right now is completely fine. Completely fine. And he's doing some really, really excellent pointings that I think you will find it so useful. But have it on repeat. Brainwash yourself.
Okay. I'll do that.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say is that you cannot lose it. You know, it's just like we need reminders, we need practicing, we need to practice anything to know it. I mean, if I don't know if you speak another language, but if you speak another language and you don't speak it for a while, even though you have been fluent in it, if you don't speak it for a while, you will forget. And it's only because you are not the same. The meat suit is not the same. The meat suit has died over and over and over and over since you were fluent in that language. You know, and that's why you can't remember. So you need to remind the new cells and the new meat suit about it all over and over and over again. And it's the same thing with this. It's just been so long since you were in that space where you completely saw it clearly. You just need to remind all the new cells that just arrived into the scene about what you actually know is. And that inquiry can help you with that.
Okay.
It's so good to see you. I'm so happy to see you. I'm sorry you've been through all that. I mean, it's hell and back. I know from my sister, it's hell and back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at the point where, I mean, my sister, she went to hospice and everybody was saying goodbye, and then she got better and came home. So it's like,
I know. I've survived for 16 years. And
I
I've been
know.
stage
I know.
that whole time. So yeah, you know,
I
it's,
know. You're
there's
not
no,
you're not any more dying than the rest of us.
yeah. If I could just get out of the medical system. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. They are helping you. They are helping you. Yeah. So good to see you. I'm looking forward to hearing how, and that goes for all of you. I'm looking forward to hearing how the brainwash works with that specific meditation or inquiry. It's really, really good.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So good to see you. And it's Iva. Hello, my friend.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Well, the thing is that I went almost completely unconscious, really, because when I'm working, I can see it, and it's like I'm curious about his child, parent, like reparent your inner child, because I think I'm doing it really badly, and yeah.
You think you're reparenting your inner child really badly?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why?
Well, because I don't listen to my body sometimes, and I cross the lines and everything.
So you could do something that's better than what you do?
Yeah.
Could you do something that's worse than what you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could do something that's worse than what you're doing, which means that you're actually doing better than worse.
Okay. Yeah. That's true. But my glow just yeah.
I have when my kids was younger, I had this trick that I always played with them, where when, for example, Ben, my son, where he would come and he would go like, oh, I really, really, really don't want to do homework. I really don't want to do homework. And I would ask, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you not want to do homework? You know, where 1 is like you're at death's door or something like worst. And he would go like, I would not do homework on the scales 1 to 10, it's a 3. And I was like, okay, why did you not say 1 or 2? And he was thinking like, oh, There's actually things that are worse than doing homework. Okay, so I actually do want to do homework because I want to do homework more than I don't want to do the other things. Okay, so it's actually okay to go in and do homework right now. It's one of those mind tricks that you can play on yourself. And it's
Okay.
the same thing when you say that I'm really doing a bad job at reparenting my inner child. Okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how are you doing?
1.
Okay. Okay. So you could put in a 0.
Okay.
But it's about expectations. Do you see that? Do you see it's about expectations? There was a point in your life where you didn't even look at reparenting your inner child. Right?
Yeah.
Point in your life where you weren't even aware that there was such a thing as an inner child, that there was such a thing of looking at traumas and holding traumas with compassion, love, and kindness. There was a point in your life where you were not even aware of that.
Yeah.
Now you're aware.
Yeah, it's just so
So
much
now,
trauma in my
so
body.
exactly. So
Yeah.
right now, when you are aware that you can hold space for the trauma, that is a step closer to actually holding space. So my question would be, can you be in a body that knows that you can do better and you're not doing any better? You're not changing anything. Can you be with the resistance to the resistance? You know what I'm asking?
So yeah, but you know, there was so much resistance in my experience. Right now, maybe I don't even feel it so much. But yeah, I was with resistance, but I didn't do anything, you know, to move in the direction of like, yeah.
How many times have you heard me say you don't need to do anything? You don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
And I repeat that for you now, Ivor. You don't need to do anything. There's nothing that can be done better than what you're doing right now. What you're doing right now is the best in this moment that can be done. You're not doing anything wrong. By feeling that you like I talked about, you know, in the beginning with Glenda, that feeling that you need to pee, you're doing the dishes, you feel that you need to pee. It's not better to go and pee than it is to feeling that you need to pee and going like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm doing the dishes. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. If you need to be there, then who are we to know that it's not what will lead you to your freedom? For some people, it would be to go and pee and feel, oh, I'm actually, you know, feeling my body and I'm acting to its needs. For other people, it's suppressing it and going, and by doing that, you go like, oh my God, this is a complete repetition of my entire life. I have felt needs my entire life. I didn't want the job that I have. I didn't want the partner that I have. I didn't want the childhood that I had. I didn't want any of the things that I have in my life right now. Every single sign in my life that had told me not to do it, and I did it anyway. This is a fucking repetition of everything. Then
Yeah, it is.
Then that will lead to your freedom. That insight would never ever have happened if you hadn't suppressed needing to pee. You know what I mean? And who are we to know? You're not Miss God. You're not Miss God.
Yeah.
How do you know that is that what you're doing is not the best? So you saying I'm not doing my best, it's just another story.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I can feel it in my body, you know.
What can you feel?
Right now I'm at peace, like I feel peace, but I feel like sometimes really like intense energies, and I don't sleep at night so much, and yeah.
So when you don't sleep at night, what is the opportunity when you don't sleep?
To hold my trauma, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But when you're lying and not sleeping at night, if you keep having a thought, I should sleep, I should sleep, I should sleep, you're not with what is present right now. What is present right now is that you're not sleeping. You have an expectation about sleeping. That means
Yeah.
nothing. It's just calling to attention what your expectation is about. It's not at all about reality. Clearly, you should not be sleeping because you're not.
Yeah.
So when you wake up at night and you're not sleeping, again, I can recommend you to listen to the inquiry that was in the chat that Todd made about death, because it's really, really looking into all the different attachments that we have to things being in a certain way.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So when you do your dishes and you need to pee and you're not peeing, but you keep doing the dishes and you have a thought saying, I should be doing something different right now, ask yourself, how do you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
Because your mind tends to just say the opposite of what is happening. I'm not sleeping. I should be sleeping.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, it's not like this. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what's going on right now.
Feeling kind of depressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay to be depressed?
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah.
Can it be any different?
Yeah, but if I will move into the direction of my happiness or well-being, so then I can change things, and and things get better, and
Can you? Are you sure? Can you do that?
I don't know.
If you feel depressed right now, can you do anything not to feel depressed?
No. No.
So it's your mind that is playing a trick on you.
Yeah.
If you have a thought saying that I can do something so I don't feel depressed, then really ask the question, are you sure about that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you can will yourself out of depression, you're the only person on the planet that can do that. Because that means that you can control your thoughts. Depression is just thoughts. Do you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I know it's just thoughts, but I don't see these thoughts, because they're like I just feel it. Yeah.
Okay. Really, really good. How do you feel the thoughts?
The energy in my body.
Is that the same as the thoughts?
I mean, I think my brain and my body mind really functions like out of feelings, like for example, my body is so much connected with my mind. So for example, if I will have happiness, my mind will be happy and I will have happy thoughts. So, and if I will feel depression, my mind will really get depressed and I would express this as depression. So I think I have to really, really be taking really good care of my body, because because it's so connected with me. Really, I just have really this. Yeah.
Okay, I is it okay if I have some questions?
Yeah.
When you say that your mind and your body is connected, how do you know that? How is that experienced? You have a sensory experience in the body.
Yeah.
So for example, right now you have a sensory experience in the body. Let's take depression. You have a thought about depression. How does it feel in your body to be depressed?
I feel like down. Yeah.
How? Let down is too unspecific. Specifically, how does it feel in your body? How does your breathing feel? How does your throat feel? How does your feet feel? Your stomach? How does it feel to be in your body right now?
Very tense.
Where?
Tension in my legs, in my stomach. There's a big tension, yeah.
There's a tension in your legs and your stomach.
Yeah.
Okay. If can I ask you just to sit and breathe and feel into that tension? How do you know that tension is connected with depression? Is there any connection between depression and the tension in your stomach and your legs?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So if you
Depression is just thoughts, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
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 There's a huge difference between tension in the stomach, tension in the legs, and depression.
Yeah.
Depression is a thought. It's the label you have a tension in your stomach and tension in your legs, and then you have a label saying, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
depression." If you detach that label, you just have tension in your stomach and tension in your legs.
Yeah. 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 It is true.
Yeah.
It is true. I don't know why I keep believing the thoughts. Yeah.
The thoughts love to be believed. The
Yeah.
thoughts doing a lot, yeah. And the what the mind loves to do is to seek patterns all the time.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you have a tension in the stomach and a tension in the legs, it's very difficult for us just to allow that to be as it is. The mind
Okay.
really, really wants to put a label on that. Oh, it's because I was walking 40 kilometers yesterday. I have tension
Yeah.
because of. Are you sure about that, or do you just have tension in your legs?
Yeah.
And the same with
Yeah.
depression. Oh, it's because I'm depressed. I'm depressed. But if you really, really look into it, those two are not connected. It's just a label you have put on. And what
Yeah.
the mind does is put a label on saying depression, and then it starts to create a story out of that label. You know?
Yeah.
So you have tension in the stomach and in the legs, you put a label on saying depressed, and you go, and that is because of my childhood. Because when I was a child, nobody ever listened to me. And in my life right now, nobody's ever listening to, and now we're talking about a story. You're not in the body anymore. We left the body long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would like for you to focus on your body right now again. So make a deep breath. Exhale and fall into gravity. Feel your body right now. Do you have the tension in your legs and your stomach?
Yes.
Okay.
And pain.
And pain. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Really good. How do you know that's not happiness?
Do I know?
Yeah.
How do I know that that's not?
Happiness.
Yeah, I mean, there is some kind of happiness. I mean,
No, it's not my question. My question is that
yeah.
pain you have in the body, the pain in the stomach and the legs, how do you know that is not happiness? Is it because that you have a thought that says, no, happiness feels different? Happiness doesn't have a pain in the stomach and the legs. Happiness is something that feels different in the body. How do you know?
I can't possibly know, yeah.
Yeah, if depression is just a label you put on a sensation in the body, so is happiness.
Yeah.
What you feel right now could be happiness. If you didn't have a label that says happiness feels fluttery in the stomach, there's a smile on my face, that's happiness. Contraction in my stomach, pain in my legs, that's not happiness, that's depression. It's just labels we put on. But
Yeah.
if you remove the labels, if you completely remove the labels of happiness and depression, all of that is out. There's just a sensory experience in the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. it is.
So what do you feel in your body right now?
Tension
Where?
through the legs, stomach, and feet.
Okay. How do you know it's tension?
Maybe it's restlessness.
Okay. How do you know it's restlessness?
I don't know, it feels this way, yeah. Maybe it feels this way, like restlessness, yeah.
But how do you know it's restlessness?
I don't even know.
No, exactly. You don't know. So if you just stay with how it is in the body right now, this moment, yeah, exactly. What difference do you feel in your body from now and until now? I want you really, really to zoom in on the tension in your stomach, your legs, and your feet. Because you will feel that it's not the same thing. Moment from moment, it changes all the time. So it's about slowing down, slowing down, slowing down, and really looking into how it is to be in your body right now.
Okay, yeah. And I'm really like, I don't know, I don't know, I'm really like oriented, like goal oriented maybe. Really goal oriented and what I have to do and
Yeah.
what I have to get rid of in my experience.
Yeah.
I mean, not in my experience, but in my life, what I have to achieve, like.
Yep. All that is just
Very,
versions. It's the versions.
yeah.
It's nothing but the versions. Yeah. Something is going on in your body right now, and you're diverting from it. And you be in a body that feels like it does right now. That's without the mind grasping on anything and putting a label on it and saying things should be any different. What happened?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. So a new question is, can you be in a body that feels like it does right now? What is different from just before?
Yes, I can be, but there is a lot of pain, yeah,
Yeah. Where?
through my whole body.
Again, it's too unspecific. Where in your body do you feel pain?
In my legs.
And how does it feel?
Um, very painful.
Again, it's too unspecific. If you
Uh-huh.
if you really zoom in on the pain, how do and just notice how it feels. Can you feel how it's changing all the time? If you don't minimize the experience to explaining how it feels, you can feel that it's a sensation that is shifting, and it's on a physiological level is shifting because the receptors in the nerves are getting different messages all the time, and every time the blood is going through the veins and the arteries, it's giving oxygen in that is giving new information to the receptors of the nerves. So the pains you have in your leg, it cannot be something static. Everything is changing all the time. And that you can
Yeah,
feel into, that you can feel into. You can feel into, oh my goodness, now it's there. Now it feels like that. Now it feels like that. Because the receptors are picking up on stuff all the time, and it changes all the time. And we're minimizing when we say, this is a migraine, or this is leg pain, or this is depression, or we're just minimizing. We're diverting from what is actually happening.
yeah.
And what is actually happening is a journey. It's an utterly journey. Like Lisa was talking about with the cancer, it's a journey, absolute journey.
Yeah. Mm.
Toddy has a really good inquiry into pain that I warmly can recommend you to listen to.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really, really good in dissolving. He's working exactly with what I'm talking about now. Really looking into the assumption that you have about pain and into what is actually experienced in the body. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
because what is actually going on is different than what you think is going on. It was what we talked about in the meditation in the beginning. What we think is going on is something completely different than what is actually going on.
Yeah. That's so relief. I mean, it's just such a relief, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Leela. Leela has just put the link in for Todd's inquiry about pain.
Okay.
Again, I can warmly recommend you. I truly believe in brainwash. So you can really, listen to it over and over and over and over and keep going into the inquiry. Every time you hear it, it's a different body that you're doing it with. A lot of cells are not here anymore. New cells had come. So it's a completely different experience every time you listen to it. And it's
Okay.
really, really questioning. It's really questioning what you perceive what is happening and making you
Mhm.
look at what is happening.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm okay. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi,
Hey, who said something?
it's
Oh,
Jahida.
yes. Hi, Jahida. So good to see you. Let me just pin you here. I saw your little sun coming in. I love it so much. I love it so much. How are you, my friend?
My heart is beating really fast.
Okay.
I'm slowing down now. I was on a call with Josh Putnam, and the same thing happened where when it was my turn to speak, my heart was beating really, really fast, like out of my chest. And I said the same thing, like I was able to just say, okay, hold on, there's something happening. And he said, like, yeah, it's really, I said, I labeled it as like nervousness.
Yeah.
And then he said something like, or maybe it's excitement.
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, it's so exciting to be seen sometimes. It's so exciting to let yourself be seen or something like that.
You met. Yeah. So true.
So my question was, maybe I just need to be reminded that you said that thoughts and delusions, or no, the layers.
May I just stop you for a sec?
Yeah.
That's the question. Just because we're not talking doesn't mean that a lot of things are not happening in you. So you saying, just a moment, and you're just sitting, I can see how much is happening in you. Your lips are moving, your throat is moving, your breath is changing, your eyes are reacting. A lot of things are happening in you right now, even though you're not talking. It's not always important to talk. Sometimes it's just important like Just was pointing out, to be seen, to be held, holding space for, be held space for. And right now you're sitting here, 13 people are on the call right now holding space for you. And for a lot of us, that is more than what we're doing for ourselves during the day. And that alone is a very, very beautiful act. And it's one of the reasons why I love having groups, because we're having not only tenfold, but 13 times fold right now. You're having what you're not giving yourself, holding space for whatever is coming up. We have 13 people right now just sitting with you, with whatever is coming up, and we're holding space for it, and we're sending you love, and we're giving you permission to take as much time as you need. You don't need to be smart or intelligent or ask the right question or anything. You're just allowed to be here. And we enjoy you just for being here. I just wanted
When
to,
that's great.
Aware of that. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
When I listened back to the recording of Josh, when I asked my question, like at the end of it, he said something like, "You remember that feeling you felt in the beginning? Like, stay with that. Like, just stay there. Just, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even need to, ask the question. It's always about just stay there. That's the answer to every question or something like that."
Yeah. Yeah. It was, funnily enough, exactly the same that I just did.
Yeah.
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 You're free to ask your question though.
Yeah. Because then when I listened to it back, I was like, what did he mean by that? Like, oh my God, it was just pounding out of my chest, pounding, like, yeah, it's the same thing as it's the same answer, I think, to my question is, so the layers of delusion that you talk about is the same thing. Thoughts are layers of delusion, right?
Yes. And then we create a lot of diversions on top of that.
Right. So for example, if you put it right there, like the heart beating, pounding, like there's that just sensation happening, and then there's the thoughts about not just, oh, it's my heart doing this, and there's a story connected about why it's doing that. There's just and then there's everything else that describes it or that tries to perceive it is the thoughts, right?
And every single thought is just a diversion.
Every single thought.
Yeah.
Every single thought.
Can you come up with something that's not a diversion from this moment? The moment we open our mouths and start to talk, we're diverting from what is actually present right now. It can be helpful. I'm not saying that it's not helpful. It can be helpful, and that's why we have all the inquiries and the one-to-ones and the groups and all of that, because it can really, really be helpful. But it is, in its foundation, just a diversion from what is. It can be helpful in looking into the diversion and becoming aware of the diversions and getting tools to looking at it. But in its foundation, at the end, what all of it is pointing at, what all of us are pointing at, it's the same thing. It's what is present right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm asking that question too because I was noticing something happened and I was noticing how I was going back in time and telling a story about it. And, when I first had that glimpse, it was, I finally got what they meant by it's just this. Because, yeah.
Do you
But
see?
so somehow it's coming back though, where I had realized it was just this, but now I'm back to the imagination of this, imagining, remembering, telling a story about it, thinking about how it could have went differently, you know, like I'm back to doing that again.
Yeah, but the mind does that. The mind creates, you know, like a parallel universe where we could have done different, and the outfall, you know, the outcome would have been different. That's just thoughts. It's just thoughts.
Okay, and the thoughts are just another sensation.
Yeah, no. The important, the importance of, and what you can use it for. Okay, you have your bubble, right? You have the bubble of reality, and that bubble has mirrors on the inside. Everything you think, you see and hear and feel and taste and touch, and what other people are saying and what other people are not saying, what other people are doing, not doing, all of that is just pointing at something in you that needs your compassion, love, and kindness. So when you're in the moment and you get a thought about a past experience, you can go to therapy and talk about that past experience and the thought about and the story about that past experience all that you want for the next 20 years. Off you go. Or you can see, how is that experience relevant right now? What is it in that I need to right now in me create love and compassion and kindness for? What is the correlation between these two things? Why am I, of all the things I could think of, why is it that I'm thinking of? What is it right in that? There's a clue in that. Just like with a computer game or murder mystery or something like that. Something is happening for you to have a clue to the next puzzle. So why is it exactly that thought?
I was just looking for my charger because my computer might die. But you're asking me why is it I should be asking in the moment that I'm having the thought? What is it about that thought?
Yeah, exactly. That experience. Of all the things you could think of all the things, all the stories you could pick out of the hat. You have that bullshit backpack, right? Of all the bullshit stories. Of all the bullshit stories, why is it that one you take up? That story is relevant right now. Why?
Okay. Ask myself why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of all the stories, why is that one relevant? What is it in you right now that needs love and compassion and kindness? What is it you're blind to right now that story can bring, you know, freedom about?
Okay. Can I tell you about the story?
I would love to hear it. I love stories.
So it was just I was talking to someone, and I think what happened was I was nervous about approaching him because he's attractive, and I said something like, "How you doing?" when I first approached him, and it felt so inauthentic. Like when I was looking back at the experience, I felt, wow, I was so inauthentic. I wanted that connection with him, but for some reason I had to be inauthentic and like open up with like, "How you doing?" Like, why did I say that? I said to myself, like, the thought was, why did I say that? Like, and then I also had the thought like, oh, it's because it's connected to something like, oh, I'm not good enough, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's connected to that. Like somehow that's what's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have this idea that because he was attractive, that you needed to be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him being attractive, do you know that he's not?
Do I know that he's not?
Yeah. Attractive.
Oh, he's not, because that's just the label of what he is, right?
No, it's your subjective opinion. There are lots of men and women out there that go like, what?
uh, yeah, but he's not, he is to me.
He's to you, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you have a story about him being attractive, and you have a story about you needing to be in a certain way towards people that are attractive.
Okay.
So it's two stories for the price of one.
But there's a third story that was added at the end, that was, I wanted connection with him.
Yeah. Why
Right? And huh?
Yeah, go on.
The third story was, I wanted to just, when I first had the glimpse, the connection was, it was so beautiful with people because there was no agenda. There was no thing in the back saying something about this. It was just complete. It was just, yeah, it was just freedom. And it was a beautiful connection of authenticity.
Do you see?
That in that moment I was missing it, like that was the third. Oh, and I missed that.
Yeah. So do you see how inauthentic you were towards him?
Yes. And that's why, and I was sad about that.
And
because I knew, because something still, like you said, with the wheel of the fetters, something still knows that it's okay. Like I don't need to,
but there's a fourth story. There's a story saying that you're not connected with him.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
There's a story where you believe in a separate Jaheda and a separate attractive guy.
Yes, but that's the same story of, I wanted that, or I missed that, or I had that when I first had the glimpse.
But do you see that? Do you remember that slide that I always use with a pear and an apple standing next to each other, and the pear goes, "I'm an apple. I wish I was a pear."
Yeah, I remember.
So you think that you're not connected to the attractive guy, and you think that you are lesser than the attractive guy, and you need to, jump through hoops for him not to find out that you are lesser than attractive guy. All that is just story upon stories upon stories. You are attractive guy. He is Jaheda. It's the space between, who was it, Irene? I think it was Irene and the fly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I could touch that before.
Yeah.
I could touch that space before.
It's still here. It's still here. It hasn't gone anywhere.
And it was there too. When I see the image of talking to him, there was like, I could look him in the eyes. Like there was a connection of like, I could sense it.
Also, if time doesn't exist, we're doing that in the seventh feather where we completed this all time. If time doesn't exist, you are already connected with an attractive guy. That meeting has already happened. You need to believe in time to believe that there's a before attractive guy, a meeting attractive guy, and after attractive guy. You need to believe in time for that to happen. And if that doesn't exist and everything is happening in the same split second, in the same moment, everything is present in the same moment, so is the connection heart to heart with attractive guy. So there's nothing to focus about. It has already happened.
The connection has already happened?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, it's deep. You're going deep with me for now.
I love that.
But that's what also what the wheel is about. Like, let's go there, even though,
even though you have right at this moment you believe in time, and there's certain conveniences with believing in time, because then you still got work to do and all of that. By you going over to attractive guy and saying, "Hi, by doing that without any agenda or anything. It's like an old friend that you are meeting. Oh, there you are. Like, I haven't seen Lisa for the longest time, and then she comes on the screen, and it's so nice to see her again. That is how we can meet everyone. That attractive guy, he's a friend. You might not know right now that he's a friend, but that's just because you're completely delusional. You know,
Yes.
we're all ignorant. Who am I to know?
I know, but the memory, the image in my mind, I didn't go up to him like that. I went up to him from the place of,
You are
I
attracted.
don't know how I'm gonna look to you right now, or thinking about how I look to you.
Yeah.
Instead of, because when I replayed it, like, oh shit, why didn't I just do that? Say hi and
Yeah.
just take a moment right there and to just stay with, wow, I'm feeling something, you know?
Yeah.
But I have done that with people before where it's like scary for other people, you know, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but that's also
Absolutely.
another story. Okay.
So do you know why? What did it remind you of?
What did what remind me of?
When you believed in the story that he was attractive, you're not, you need to be and play a role for him to wanting to talk with you. Where in your timeline is that relevant? Where are we in the trauma? What was that story and experience pointing at? What in you needs love and compassion that wasn't met then? Why did that have to happen for you to get the insight that you didn't, that you haven't got yet, if we can say it like that?
Mm-hmm. I just I keep getting that. Yeah, I'm not good enough. Yeah, I guess maybe there's something, I
Is
don't
that
know what that's connected to.
is that true that you're not good enough, or what is it you need to? It's just a diversion. What is it diverting from? How does it feel to be in your body right now?
It just feels neutral. It's like the mass that I feel that is here. It's it's quiet. It's still.
So what is different from now and the moment before you decided to go over and say hi?
What is different between now and the moment before I decided to say hi?
Yeah.
The moment before I decided to approach him, it was like, oh, I'm just gonna tell him. I'm just gonna tell him because I wanted to tell him something. I don't know. Because I was gonna message him, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna approach him instead. Why do I need to message him? He's here. I'm just gonna say it to him now. So in that moment right before, it was like a moment of, this is fine. I can just walk up to him. What's the problem?
And what is different? Yeah, what is different in that moment, the moment you're in right now, and then when you were on the way over to him?
On the way over to him,
Yeah.
it was the same. It was the same as this. It was neutral. It was only after I said, "How you doing?"
Okay.
And he replied.
Okay, then stop in that moment where you say something and he hasn't replied yet. What's the difference in the body?
It's like nervous. Yeah. I mean, I remember being nervous.
Okay, so now you see the difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you feel into that difference? How does it feel in the body?
when I think about being nervous, then?
No, how it felt when you had said hello and he hadn't said anything yet. And now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. It was nervous then. It was nervous, and I can feel it a little bit now.
Okay, so how does it feel in your body? You're pointing towards the sternum. Yeah.
It's more like tighter here.
Okay. How does that feel?
It feels tighter. Some kind of tightness in my throat and in my chest right here.
Does it remind you of something?
Nope. I know what nervous feels like.
But nervous is not one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like uncertainty.
Is it about stepping out of your safety zone?
Is it about being seen?
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary being seen.
Okay. Especially by an attractive guy.
Yeah. And instead of just staying with that, this is scary. You know, this is here, this is.
Yes.
He's about to see me.
Yeah.
I went into a story about how, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a
I diverted instead of just staying with that.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're still back to you see you. What needs compassion and love and kindness for you is to see you. Once you have seen every single room of you, then you're completely fine with other people seeing it too, because you've been in there.
Me seeing me.
Yeah. It's always
that was never allowed to. I was never allowed. I don't let myself do it because I divert with something.
Yes. Yeah. So what would happen if you saw you in every single aspect? If you really, really, truly understand when I talk about the bubble of reality, and you really, really, truly understand it, that everything is only ever about you. It's only ever about you seeing you. It's nobody else. It's you seeing you. It's you meeting you. It's you loving you. You accepting you. You understanding everything about you. You being completely okay with you. Everything is only ever about you.
But there is no me.
Oh, that would be so great if we could just, jump straight into that and not have to look at any of the other stuff.
Okay, yeah, because it kind of reminded me too of when I had the glimpse, like I could like go up to anyone and say anything and ask for anything. I felt so powerful to just, wow, I just want to ask for everything that I've ever wanted that I was too scared to ask for. Because if they say no, it's totally okay. Like if he says no, like yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
But then I said, because it's not about me.
Yes.
But now you're saying, but maybe I'm overthinking it.
No. I love the little twist you're trying to make now. No. When you know.
Because I saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing it then. I was seeing it.
You had a glimpse into what it means when there's no identification to anything anymore.
Yes.
What you're looking at, and that's what the honeymoon period and the glimpse is about.
Yes.
When we then go back from that and back into the identification, all the things that comes up are things that needs to be seen through and be loved and held and felt compassion and love and kindness towards before they can let go. Once they have been loved for being there, and we're not diverting anymore, and we're not avoiding them anymore, and everything is completely fine, then life is as it was in that glimpse. Right now, you're at the point where there are things that you need to acknowledge, that everything you see, hear from outside, it's only what you think what you think you see and you hear. Everything is a reflection of you. So what is it right now that needs your compassion and love so you can get that glimpse again? So that can be your life. What is it you need to de-identify with at this moment? And you can only de-identify with loving it and don't wanting it to go away ever. Everything is fine. It can be here for as long as it needs.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Love you.
Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. So much, so much. I love the way the work that you do. I love how you just diligently keep looking into it and you keep coming back and coming back. You're so honest and authentic with yourself. I love it so much. It's a bummer when people see you, isn't it?
I can do it so easily here, yeah. But it's good to practice, yeah, okay. Okay, hi Debbie, you're next. You're smiling. I love your smiling face too, Debbie.
Thank you, Jahida.
Thank you. I love how she just diverted straight back to, where did you go, Debbie? Let me see if I can find you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lowered my hand. I'm conscious of time. I just want to be quick, but it's about the bubble reality and maybe a tip. Do you need me to raise my hand? Would that make you happy?
And now I'll just 12. Here we go. Look. Okay. Here we go. Hello, Debbie. Good to see you.
Hi. Good to see you. Thank you for everything. And I know that the time is late. I just want to real quick, like about the bubble of reality. And there was a guy on Vince's call that was talking about negative 10 fetters. Like, and I feel sort of like that. So maybe, I don't know, but I just want to know, like, so like, is it most important to look at like what you're intolerant of? Like, you know, because like you say, like nobody can trigger you. Like, so like, and I'm really triggered. That means that I'm intolerant. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I mean, that's the bubble of reality. Is that the most important thing to look at as opposed to, oh, I love that. You know what I mean? Right. Is that what we're supposed to be looking at?
Yes, I don't think that anything can be put into what is most important and less important, because I think it changes all the time. What was most important when this meeting started is not what is most important now, because lots of people have said different things, lots of insights has happened to every single one of you. So you are now in a different place than you were before the meeting was started, which means that what's most important then is not most important now. So it's that keep going with what is alive right now. What is it that is alive right now? Jaheda, she thought that it was about an attractive guy. Find out it wasn't. It was about Jaheda, looking at Jaheda and loving everything she sees. You know, okay, we're back to square one. That was, funnily enough, the same thing that we talked about last time. So it's that really, really noticing that we divert with lots of things and think that it's different things that is the issue. It's not. It's always the same thing, and the mirrors are always pointing at you. So it's just whatever comes up in the moment is the most important thing to look at. And just know that whatever that is, it's only ever about you. It's never ever about anyone else. Just like what everybody have talked about, every single conversation we have had, the insights you have had with that is about you. It might have been, you know, Ravina and Jaheda and Irene and Mike and lots of different people that talked about, but they were just messages for your insights to you.
Yeah, because you talked about how you hear things too, which might not be what was exactly said. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Because we can only, you can only reference what you know. You cannot reference, if I talk about some kind of tropical fruit you have never tasted, you have no idea what it tastes like. Like, do you know that citrus called Buddha's hand? There's a citrus that called Buddha's hand. It tastes a mixture between lemon, lime, and pomelo. So before I told you that, you had no idea what Buddha's hand tastes like. Now you have an idea what I think it tastes like. You have no idea what you think it tastes like. But you can only reference to the lemons, limes, and pomelos you have been eating in your life. Do you know what I mean? If I suddenly started to speak Chinese, you don't speak Chinese, your reference of what I'm talking about would be based on your backpack, on your previous experiences, what you think my facial expressions is about, you know. So we only ever talk and think and see and hear about ourselves. You cannot perceive anything. For example, if I was sitting, when I was speaking with Irene, and she was talking about the trauma in her life, and all the feelings came up, and she was sitting and sobbing, the empathy you felt towards her is your empathy. It's the empathy towards you that you're feeling. Irene is not real. In your life, Irene is not real. I'm not real. The only thing that's real is what is happening in your experience, in your bubble of reality. We don't exist.
Okay, so let's just turn this, just so hypothetically, if I didn't feel any empathy, then that's because I don't know how to give it to myself, theoretically. Is that
in that area, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and then if, you know, Maria, she talked about how her cat died and you lost a cat when you were 7, you would feel Maria's pain about losing her cat because you lost a cat. So you wouldn't feel anything about Maria and her cat. You would feel about Debbie and her cat. That's empathy.
Right. And then if I think about somebody, here we go, I can see what they're going to do, and they have, you know, before they even say a word, and then they do it, and I'm like, see, that's how they are, you know. Yeah. So what is that? What is that, like, negative prediction?
That is you being, no, it's not a prediction. That is you being completely delusional, thinking that you know what they say. And you don't even hear what they're saying because you have already decided what they're saying. When Trump goes on the stage, right? Some of us have already decided what he's going to say. We do not hear what he's saying. We do not see him as someone new that has something new to say. We think we know what he says, and we hear what we think he says. We do not hear what he says. And afterwards, you will have all the debate programs on every single channel talking about what they think they heard he said. And if you hear Fox, they will have one view. If you hear another channel, CNN, they will have another view. It was the same guy standing saying something that none of them heard. They're only talking, it's why debate programs are so ridiculous, because it's only people talking about their own bullshit backpack. They're not talking about, nobody is at a debate trying to hear what the other person is saying because they can't.
And then the solution to the bullshit backpack, I like that little phrase, by the way, it's cute. But so, you know, like if I just go into that, I'm like, okay, yep, she did it. I knew she was going to do that. And she's so full of shit. She's lying to herself. I don't even want to hear a word she's saying. Yeah. You know, all she wants is attention. Yeah. So all of that I'm saying to her about her is about me.
Yes. You're lying to yourself. All you want is attention.
I'm lying to myself.
All you want is attention. Yeah. Because it's not about her. It's not about her. It's about what you think you hear and what you think you see. You think she is attention seeking. You think she's lying to herself. What is the mirror looking at? What are you looking at? I am lying at myself.
Yeah, myself.
I want attention. Okay. Without any judgment. without any judgment, what am I lying about? What is it right now that I'm lying about? What is it right now that I don't want to see, that I'm seeking attention about? What is it? I'm here, I love you, I'm here, I'm here. What am I lying about? What am I seeking attention about? She's just a messenger, you know? She's just a tool for you to become aware of what is going on in you right now. It's only ever about you. This is the most complicated and uncompromising shadow work you can ever do, because there's nowhere to hide.
All right. So whenever I'm really triggered, it's all about me. It isn't about the other character in the.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Because other people would sit and hear her talk and going like, that is so insightful. And you are just calling bullshit, you know? So there's something, you know?
Sorry. Yeah. All right. This is good. Thank you. I really don't want to take any more time, but I want to.
Come on.
I do want to apply that.
Okay. I just want, I just want to point at something. You are right now having a story saying that you're taking up time, that you are bothersome, that you're in the way, that you are sticking the wheel, that you are holding us back, that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That is your story. I have not said anything about a time limit. There's nobody else that have a hand up. You just created that story. So that's your mirror looking at you. What is it about you? Thanks. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm pointing at?
Yeah, I do.
Is it about you?
Yeah, like almost so anything I say, you're saying is actually that. Oh, weird.
Yep. It's what I mean with this being the most uncompromising and you know, shadow work that you can ever do. Because there's nowhere to hide. No matter what thought you have, it's about you. It's what you think about you. No matter what you think other people are saying, it's not what they're saying, it's what you think they're saying. Everything is a mirror. It's the most uncompromising shadow work that you can work with. So what just happened? Do you see the story that you're projecting on to all of us here?
Yeah.
For you
and I didn't feel particularly triggered. I'm just trying to be thoughtful, but you're saying, you're saying even that.
But even you thinking that you're being thoughtful is a delusion. Nobody said anything about a backstop. Nobody talked about when we stop. Nobody has said anything about it. Nobody has their hand up. You just created that. So you have a pattern in your life where you think you're being thoughtful. And when you're doing that, Yvonne, take that hand down.
That's funny. Okay.
So you have we pretend Yvonne is not here. So so you have a story in your life, you know, about not taking up space. Now you can really see you're taking up space, because if it wasn't for you, I would speak with Yvonne right now, and Yvonne, she has much more pressing things to talk about than you do. That is your story. It's your story. It's a delusion and it's a lie, you know? It's a diversion instead of looking at what really needs. What is it in you that thinks that what you need to talk about is less important than any of the other people here? Why are you lesser than the rest of us? What makes you so special?
Isn't it funny that this could be an arrogance about being a bad person too? I've been trying to reflect on that, because I have thought that, like, you know, it's maybe more noble to see my faults all the time, but that there's an arrogance in that, like I'm the worst person possible, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So if you really use the bubble of reality to what it is, you know, pointing at, then it's really uncompromising, looking at all the time. What do I actually think about me? What truth and beliefs do I actually hold about me? None of it is true. I just create my life around it as if it is true. That can be so painful, and it can be so eye-opening, and it can be and there's nowhere to hide. It's deep shadow work we're doing when we're working with the bubble of reality. And it's also why the feathers are amazing to be working with, because it's so uncompromising.
And we do this work before waking up. Sometimes people have to do it before, right? Sometimes people do it after.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you don't, because every time I'm talking about the bubble of reality, some people hear it, really, really hear it, and their life is completely changed after that. Other people hear it, but it's not doing anything. And I think that we don't really hear it and really implement it into our lives until we're ready. Because if we still need to hide behind a story about a horrendous childhood or traumatic experiences or anything like that, if we still need to hide, we should hide as long as we need to hide. You know, there's nothing that needs to happen quicker or different or anything like that. So when the penny really, really drops about the bubble of reality, it's because you're ready. You're ready really to look at it. And without any judgment to what you're seeing, just really holding space to what is actually happening.
Something touched my heart, so thank you. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm not letting you off the hook yet. I'm just sitting with you.
Oh, God. Okay.
Just sitting with your bed. Just breathe. Breathe. You're so, so welcome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Pranav.
I truly appreciate you. Thank you. Now is it fun? Are you allowed to talk?
I, I've won. Oh, it's difficult to talk. I am. This is one person, a person who finds it very difficult. Who I didn't want to take your time. I didn't want. Yeah, I'm one of those people.
I think I'm collecting all those people on this call. Nobody in this call have been wanting to take any time. I truly really appreciate all of you for taking time, though.
I was so wanting to talk, and I got the timing wrong again somehow, and I keep getting everything wrong at the moment. And I wanted to talk because I said I've already said in the past that I'm waiting for a heart operation.
Yeah.
And I eventually got to see. And even now, as I'm speaking, I'm thinking, have you got time? Have you got the time? All right.
May I just say to all of you that you really think so little of me, that I'm not an adult that can decide what I have time and not have time for. I'm so appreciative for all of you thinking that I'm not capable of taking care of myself and making sure that I have time for relaxing after a call. Thank you very much for mothering me. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Oh.
And then I would just hold the mirror up to all of you.
Yeah.
Really would like for all of you to mother yourselves, to really looking into if you are creating space in your lives for all the things that you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But have I got time to tell you my problem?
Well, I haven't said anything about about not having time. So
terrible. It's a terrible thing to suffer from. I eventually, this feels like a story now. I eventually got to see the surgeon, my surgeon. I've waited for months and months to see, and after having had many tests. I almost didn't get to see him because the receptionist didn't tell him I'd gone for an ECG, and so only because I said, "Hey, I'm supposed to be. What's happening?" And then she looked really worried, and I got to see him, but it was very short. So I already felt short on time with him. I'd waited so many months to see him, and I didn't know how to ask all my questions in such a short time because he was about to leave. But he did sit down, and I did manage to ask him some questions. I also had one of my sons with me who's very like me, or suffers from some of the things that I suffer from. And so therefore, if he sees it in me, he will criticize me. And he was sitting next to me. So I was feeling like, oh, I should be careful what I say, because he might criticize me for it. Oh. Anyway, the surgeon said to me, I was telling him how ill I was feeling with my heart and my symptoms. And he said, oh, if we'd have known how bad you were feeling, we'd be doing the operation now and not in 3 months' time, which is when we're going to do it. And that really frightened me. But I said, so I've got to wait 3 months for this, like this. He said, yes, because I'm in England, and we've got the National Health, and it's on its knees, and everybody's waiting. There's hundreds and thousands of people waiting to have things done. So I went away, and then my son had a go at me, saying, "Mum, why are you always telling people
about walking a mile or two every day? Why are you always making sure that everybody knows how fit you are? Why don't you tell them how you feel? Because I know how you feel. I go, oh, yeah, you're right. So the other day I managed to get, yesterday I managed to get an appointment with a doctor, which is a rare thing, face to face. And so I went to see her, but in England you have sort of like 3 minutes or 3 questions you can ask. So again, I'm suffering from thinking she hasn't got time. So I then say, oh, I tell her what the surgeon says. I tell her that 3 days ago I started to black out, and I've been saying how bad I've been feeling to the giving information to the doctor's surgery. And I said, so he said, how is it? He said, had he known how I was feeling, he'd be doing the operation now. And she said, oh, I think it was a flippant remark. And it wasn't at all flippant. And so I've been like, and then so I've been feeling, oh, I've not been meditating because I've been feeling, I'm so torn between trying to think I've got to save myself from dying before I have the operation, and then meditating, thinking, well, whatever happens, everything's all right, and I don't. Anyway, here I am saying blah 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 blah.
I think it's wonderful.
Oh,
it's wonderful. And I love your little story. Do you see the similarities about you have the meeting with the cardiologist and you have the story about him not having time?
Yeah. Well, he didn't as well.
And us meeting, no, it's a story. And us meeting now, and you not having time.
Yeah. And it's like so important to me. And I'm thinking, oh, I really need to tell you, and I really need to talk to you about it. But no, I think, no, it's just, you've got too much to say. You don't know how to get it out properly. It's all over the place. And you're just taking time, and now it's late and blah,
But
yeah.
The thing
Yes,
is, no matter how many things you mention, no matter how many things you talk about, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Just different stories pointing at the same thing. Just
but it's the same with everybody. I've noticed it. I'm really realizing now.
Yeah.
Like things are hitting me in the face. It's like I'm like that with everybody. I'm not important enough. But I mean, I don't believe.
I also want to point out you saying that my son criticizes me. Yes. And then when you mention what he's criticizing you about, he's not criticizing you at all. He's having your own best at heart when he says you cannot sit and talk to the doctor and tell about how great you're doing when you're not. That's not criticism. That's not criticism. That is he's pointing out that you're minimizing the issue when you're speaking with your cardiologist.
Yeah.
That's not criticism. He's pointing something out that you're actually doing. You're actually minimizing the issue. So when you finally get time to speak with the cardiologist, you minimize the issue. So you're still not taken care of.
Yes.
And then you speak with your GP, and she confirms that you're, way over the top. That's nothing. He shouldn't have said that.
Well, when I can't consult my son, I consult him, you see. When I consulted my son about this, he said, Mum, your doctor's covering herself for you because you've told her how bad you're feeling. And she should have been passing that on because you've not had a chance to speak to the cardiologist often enough. Yeah. And she's covering herself, Mum. And it wasn't flippant. She's flippant. And it's, oh, yeah.
So
anyway.
So you actually have a son that is standing and saying, you need to be honest when you finally speak with a cardiologist. You need to talk about what is really relevant. If he says that you need the operation now, you need the operation now. There's not much.
But he's not gonna do it now. So I've got to, now I feel stupid and like I'm working against myself because I might you know, I might not last out before I get the it's like, oh fuck.
Wonderful opportunity. It's an absolutely wonderful, you know, catch-22 lose situation you're in. It's just like this meeting, you know?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
this meeting. You mess up the time, so you're in late, and then you're the last one to ask a question, and you're not going to be able to ask all the questions you want, and now you're making it into not being an issue. So what you really want to talk about is not being addressed, and then the meeting is over, and it's a repetition of the cardiologist. What is all that pointing at? If everything is just mirrors in your bubble of reality, what is it pointing at? What is it in you that needs love and compassion and kindness? It's pointing in the same direction. Do you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, what is it in me that needs love and compassion and attention? I don't know.
Oh, you're pulling a face. Are you scared about the operation?
I was scared about the operation. Now I'm scared about not getting the operation in time. I mean, now I'm scared. And I told the surgeon, I said, I want this operation. I want it. I really want it.
Yeah.
I was saying, I don't like the thought of it, but I want it. I need it.
Yeah.
I want my energy back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we look into that for a second? You having a projection about the operation will bring your energy back.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm told that if all goes well, I should, if I don't die in the operation, if all goes well, I should regain my energy again, because I've actually lost probably a hell of a lot of my energy. I identified always being fit and blessed with fabulous energy, and now I'm not fit and my energy is low. And my heart, if I do too much, my heart goes funny. So I'm hoping, of course, I'm living in the future of how it might be afterwards. I'm not being here now.
But what if it's not that the energy is not tied into anything about oxygen transportation or heart or anything, that the energy is actually about your thyroid? Then the operation is not going to do anything.
No. I'm hoping my thyroid isn't bad.
I just added another illness to the list. No, it was my intention. What I mean is to looking into that very fixed delusion you have of an operation can go right or go wrong.
Yes.
You don't want the operation because it can go wrong. You do want the operation because it can go right. Both of those are just thoughts.
Yes.
We have people falling out of windows from the second floor and survive, and other people, they trip on a curve and
die.
I mean, you know what I mean? We can't say that an operation is giving you more energy. We can't say that an operation is going right or wrong. We don't know that. We don't know that. But when you occupy your mind with that, you're diverting from something else, something that is here alive right now.
Yeah.
When you're diverting exactly. And what is that diversion from? What are you diverting from?
I'm diverting from being with my being here in this moment. I'm diverting from just being present here. Even though I don't feel as well as I used to.
And I would warmly recommend you to listen to the
dying.
Yeah, to the dying inquiry, really, really, because you're sitting and telling a new story about a story and a new story about that story.
Yes.
I really, really like you to,
I'm going
away with all that, into the core, in your direct experience right now. What is alive? And that is what you're diverting from.
Yes.
It's exhausting. It could be it could be one of the reasons why you don't have any energy, because you are absolutely exhausting yourself.
Yes. I mean, I'm not quite like this all the time. I mean, it's worse because I'm having to speak and, reveal me.
Yeah.
Reveal, not me, because I know the me doesn't exist.
I know. I hear you. I hear you.
I know. Oh.
That's another thing, sitting and apologizing for yourself. What are you apologizing for? You haven't done anything wrong. Why do you assume that you're doing anything wrong, that you need to be any different than you are right now? Where does that come from? It's very, very interesting to look into. Why do you think that you need to be any different than you are right now?
It does come from when I was a child. Yes. Yeah. Very. I am exploring this. I am really. I am.
Yeah.
Definitely deeply exploring that. And I mean, yeah. I was going to say, because as my son says, Mom, you're fucked up. I'm going to get you a therapist. He says all this stuff you do online, this non-duality, it doesn't make you. It's not helping you.
Not helping you at all.
You're getting worse. You're
yeah. He's right. He's utterly right. He's utterly
I am.
right. Yeah, you are. You absolutely are. When we're in that little deluded bubble about I'm absolutely fine, what happened in my childhood, I've completely forgiven everyone, everything is just fine. That's a really deluded bubble, yeah. But we're very, very easy to be with when we're there.
That was so. I can't remember the conversation who you had that with, but that was so helpful.
Yeah.
Hearing that, yes. Also, my memory seems to be going. I can't remember anything for very long at all.
Yeah, it could be an age thing, and it can be an awakening thing.
Well, it's quite recent, and I don't think I'm getting dementia, whatever it's called.
I'm sending you lots of love, but I think you're too old to get dementia.
Oh.
It's absolutely, there's a point where we are too old to get dementia and Alzheimer's.
Is that sure? Is that for sure?
It is a thing. It is a thing. Yeah.
That's like a placebo now.
It can be, yeah. But I also want to say that when you dissolve the seventh fetter, when you start to work into the seventh fetter, and when you really realize that the bubble of reality is just pointing at you all the time, it's mirrored on the inside, it's only pointing at you.
Yes.
And whatever thought comes up about I'm acting like I am right now because of my childhood. Okay, so it's not about my childhood, it's something in me right now that needs my love and attention and my compassion. Then we start to dissolve the seventh fetter, and the seventh fetter is where we create something out of nothing. So when you become aware of that, time starts to dissolve, because time is part of that. We create something out of nothing, and when time starts to dissolve, our memory goes. And we have to have alarms on for everything. We have to, we can't remember if we actually had the conversation or we didn't, because we start to rock the boat that the meat suit is experiencing a linearity about, past, present, and future. And the more that boat starts to rock, the more it goes into the vertical. And then everything is happening at the same time, which means that the conversation has already happened. And you can remember that you had the conversation, but in this linearity where the meat suit, the conversation hadn't happened yet. That is happening more and more prevalent. And you will also experience that you will have more and more déjà vu, where you experience something and you remember it as it is. Yeah, it's part of the seventh feather.
I had one last night. I thought, whoa,
yeah,
it happened before.
Yeah,
and it was so light and so it's hard to catch it, but that whoa, that feeling, yeah.
It's because the horizontal is becoming vertical.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's completely fine. And it's pointing at whatever we think happened in the past, and that story being important. It's just pointing to it's not the story, it's what is in me right now that needs my attention right now. That story is just pointing for me to remember how it felt and what needs my attention right now. Now it's the time to heal what wasn't healed then. And by healing it now, you heal in reverse. And what happens then is that you forget that story. That story disappears from your memory. So if you write, it's also why I'm such a, I always talk about write it down, because you forget. You will start to work with the 7th feather or the 8th feather or 9th feather, 10th feather, whatever. You will look in your notebook and the issues you wrote about the 1st feather, it's gone. You can't remember that you had that conversation with Brian when you were 17. That has been on your mind for decades. And all of a sudden it's gone, and you need to see you written it down to remember, oh yeah, that's right. Because you
want that. I want that so much. It's like the me came back. I want all that. I want it so much. I want, but it's such a lonely, you've gone for, I ran out of,
okay.
Juice. I'm just going to plug this in. I want it so much, and I don't know what I was going to say now.
You said it's such a lonely.
Yeah, it's so lonely because there's no one to share this with except online. I'm with my family, and I know I've mentioned this before. Ram Dass, I think it was. If you think you're enlightened, have a week with your parents. Yeah, well, I'm with my family. But it's like they all think I'm a bit fucked up, and I really want to be the best grandma and nice mother-in-law, and it's like, oh, fuck it all.
And you aren't the best grandma, and you aren't the best mom, and you aren't any of that. All that is just, it's just
character.
It was just diversions.
Yeah, diversion.
Why is that all of a sudden important? So all of a sudden, you as you are is not the best grandma. You need to be something to be the best. Yeah. What's that all about?
It's hard being in that. It's like I'm in one line and then I'm on. It's like the thin line, and I'm on one foot on one side and one foot on the other, because one side of me goes, if someone criticizes me about not being the best grandma, I go, oh fuck yeah, no, they're right, and I'm mean, and I didn't give my son a fish cake the other day, and I had 2, and I could have given him 1. I'm in another room now, another house, and all these things, and then I go, wait a minute, it doesn't exist, all that, you said just feel what's what, feel it.
Can I just back up a bit? And talk a bit about how egotistical you are eating both fish cake? I mean, seriously, who does that? And
I was eating the fish cake thinking, well, he could cut it in half and go and take the other half, because he hasn't tried these fish cakes before. And he was having to cook for his family. And I knew he came back home hungry.
And you ate both?
And I ate both. And then I said, but you're not, you need cosseting. You can eat 2. I said, no, you've got to cut it in half. I mean, it's like, I keep saying, well, I can say it as many times as I like, can't I? Fuck, I can't, it's like,
But what is funny is that you are putting so much value into a little fish cake.
Yeah.
It's just a fish cake.
I know, and it really hurt my heart.
Yeah, but there we go. Now we're beginning to talk business here. Exactly. I would like for you to go into every single room of your house, your metaphorical house, the one that I talked about in the first minute. I see it as everything a big house, and there are rooms in the house, and some of them are so hidden away that there's not even a door, you know?
Yes.
So Yvonne being selfish, now it at least has a door, and you have opened the door, and in that door is you eating all the fish cakes, and it's hidden over in the corner, and you do not want to be that person.
No.
What I would like for you to do is to embrace that you are that person. You are the selfish person. And when somebody goes, you ate all the fish cakes, you will go, yes.
Ah, yes, yes. But there was also something else about that fish cake story. It wasn't just I felt mean. I felt total love for my son and such compassion that was, it's like bonkers amounts of it, thinking he was hungry. He probably needed a little bite to eat before he started cooking. How could I not give him that fish cake? It wasn't just meanness. It was like, it really hurt my heart because I felt like I thought it was a terrible thing I did. And so I was dealing with that. And then of course, I know I got to criticize this person here again. I talk too much, but you know.
No. Yeah, two things now. This is very, very quick, all of it. So you are now criticizing you. Remember back before when I said that you said that my son is criticizing me, and I pointed out that he's not.
Yes.
He's just saying his opinion about something that is factually actually true. Then
Yes.
you're playing, and he's just pointing that out. You take it as criticism. You were just criticizing yourself for eating both fish cakes, and you created a huge story about his life being better if you hadn't done that. If you only were different, then you would be a great grandmother, and you would be, wouldn't be selfish, and you would think of your son and share the fish cakes and all of that. All of that is part of a storyline that you're maintaining. It's just a story. But it's pointing at something very, very important. It's pointing at the criticism you give yourself all the time. And as you keep repeating, it's breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart. You keep saying that over and over and over again. I would like for you to really look at all the stories and write them down, because you will forget. Write them down, all the stories that breaks your heart. And look at that list and see how immensely long it is. No wonder you have heart issue and now need an operation. You're breaking your heart all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just stories.
Yeah.
It's just stories.
Yeah.
I want for you to be able to enter the room where you are allowing yourself to be a bad grandmother and allowing yourself to be a bad mother, because you are also that. You're also a phenomenal grandmother and a phenomenal mother. But you need to be okay with both sides.
Yeah.
Breathe. Breathe.
That's one thing I'm doing very well. I'm not breathing very well. I can't get my breath quite often. Yeah, I'm finding it difficult.
Yeah. So I would like for you to be able to be both. It's like yin and yang. You can't be a phenomenal grandmother if you're not also a shitty one. You can't be a great mother if you're not also one that eats all the fish cakes. It's a package.
I know that, but it's like actually embodying and truly being and feeling.
Okay, or being okay with all of it. It's okay.
And I've started writing on the wall here. It's not my house, but I've started writing on the wall, because the wall, I can't lose the wall, and I can't lose the book. So I'm diverting in a bit by saying that. But I just thought I'd like to say that.
So here we go. It's a great poster to have it on the wall.
Yeah, great. Oh, thank you. I mean, thank you, Pernilla.
You can say it whichever. I'm fine. I'm not really attached to it, so you can say it whichever way you remember. It's fine.
Thank you so much. And I've got the phone in my hand, and I've got the wire, the electric wire there, so I can go.
Thank you so much.
Pernilla.
Thank
you so much. I love you, and I love your face, and I love your help to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy that you braced yourself and came and talked. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll mute myself now.
Okay. Okay, wonderful people. Does anybody else have something to say? Okay, then I think this is it. It was a great Friday. Thank you very much to all of you. So much gratitude from here. So much gratitude. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and see you on Tuesday for the inquiry, if you're up for that. We have inquiry, just write to Todd on Unfettered Mindfulness, and then you get the link so you can participate. I would love that. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Pernilla.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pernilla. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.